So much to Zach for creating this challenge for us. We're looking at the heptathlon for the final of our sports-themed Preppin Data Sports Month. So let's take a look. First of all, I'm going to actually do something that I don't normally do, which is bring in the table before we make any changes to it. So I've connected to the data, I'm bringing in that results table. Let's just take a quick look at it, because in this input step up here, I've already made some changes to it. So let's take a look at it before we've made any changes. So straight away, we can see that there are a lot of nulls that we're seeing in this data set. So for the first four fields, we can see that we have the first row is complete, and then we have nulls in the following two rows, and that's a similar pattern all the way down. And that's because we have these three different numbers for each events: the event score, the event time distance, and the rolling total, and that repeats. So basically that's an indicator for us that we're going to need to fill down these values. And whenever we're doing a fill down, we need an order to the data. So we need to understand the order that the data was in before we make any changes to it. And basically, in other words, we need to know what the row number was in the source data. So that's a good indicator that we're going to need this field that automatically gets generated. Now, it's frustrating to me that I can't actually... Oh, I can include this field if I go to the menu here. So that's all right then. I can't right-click on it to make that happen, but I can go to the little menu and I can include this field. Okay, so now we have the source row number in our data set, which is great. And we just want to do a little bit of renaming at this stage as well. Now, I didn't know that I could rename at this view. I would change to my field list normally in order to start renaming things, but I can do it in the data preview as well. Okay, so I just want to rename this to position, this to athlete with lowercase, nationality, and total points. And then the other thing I want to do in this dataset, I can't seem to scroll over to the right, so I would go to the field list at this point. I see that I've got this duplicated field here for the 800 meter run. We can even see that the preview values are exactly the same as well, so I just want to make sure that I remove that field as well. So a few different changes in our input step. Often we don't do a lot of changes in the input step itself, we're just seeing how the data is coming in, but this is how it looks after that. So 5 changes where we're removing that 800 field, we're including the source row number, and then we're just renaming those first 4 fields as well. So now let's take a look at how the data is looking at this point. Yep, so we've still got all of those nulls that we want to deal with. So we basically want to do a fill down for those 4 different fields. So for example, if we start with position, then we go to the menu for position, we go to create a calculated field and fill down. And it's quite good actually. Tableau Prep recognises that probably what we want to order by the source row number, that's the field that makes the most sense. And now we can see how that is filling it down correctly, 111, 222, so on and so forth. We just want to rename this field to position and get rid of the original position field, which now I'm realising it probably didn't make sense to bother renaming our fields initially. We probably should have just left it as POS and then done the fill down and named that one position. But you can tell that I've forgotten from when I did this challenge to when I'm coming to record it, only a day later, that I've already forgotten that efficiency. So yeah, lots of renaming, lots of deleting the old field, lots of filling down. But even though it seems like something that might be a little bit complicated to do, you can see it's only taken us a few clicks in order to clean up that data. So I've done that for all of the 4 fields that it's necessary to do it for, and now we've got a much more complete looking data set, which is great. Now let's just look quickly at this total points field, and we can see that we've got some of the numbers, the numeric values, followed by SB or PB. I believe the PB is personal best, and I'm going to take a guess that SB is something like season best, but I'm sure that there are people who know who are laughing at me for not knowing. So we just want to clean this up, so we want to clean and remove any of the letters, because we don't actually want this information for the purposes of our analysis, and then make sure to also trim the spaces before we go and change this to a number data type, so that that's all nice and numerical there. Cool, so that's all that we do in this step, is just change it to a number, and this person clearly had a bad day on this particular event for their total points being quite a lot lower than all the other athletes. Okay, now we want to think about those 7 events, sorry, it's a heptathlon. So we want to think about these 7 events and we want to pivot them so that we have a row for each event for each athlete. So we're going to do a columns to rows pivot, add that in, and then just drag in all of our events there, make sure that they are all contained there, and just do a little bit of renaming so that we've got our value for the pivot 1 values, and we rename the pivot 1 names to be just event. And then for this breakdown, we actually want that to be our new field names instead. So we've got in the values all mixed up together, the event score, the rolling total, and the event time distance. So we'll just do a rows to columns pivot there to take that breakdown field and those values and pivot that a different way. Now we're ready to join on our event lookup, which just gives us kind of the full names of those events rather than just saying 100H. We know that that is actually the 100-meter hurdles. Just to write that out a bit more clearly, we want the order of those events and also what event type they are. So we just join that on a nice simple lookup join. Remove those fields where we have just the 100H and HJ. We don't need that because we've got the full name now. And then we're just going to take a look at our fields for the rolling total and the event time / distance, and notice that we've got these brackets here that explain to us the athlete's position. On the rolling total, it's for up to that point, what position were they. For the event time / distance, it's for that specific event, where did they finish. So we're going to split those out. So with the event time distance, let me remember actually. I think there was one of them. For the rolling total, I just did an automatic split and that worked absolutely fine. It split things out the way that I wanted it to. But for the event time / distance, when I did the automatic split, then that tries to convert all of the numbers before the bracket into a numeric field. And that doesn't quite work where we have times. So if I scroll down a bit further, then you can see that some events, they have kind of the time recorded like this. So for example, for the 800-meter run, that is that like 2 minutes? I don't know if that's reasonable. Maybe no, it can't be 2 hours, so it must be 2 minutes. You can tell my sporting knowledge here. But this won't convert to a numeric field very easily because it's got like the minutes, the seconds, and the milliseconds. So we don't want to do an automatic split in this case because we don't want to automatically convert it to a number. We want to leave anything before the bracket as a string. So I chose to just do more of a custom split there instead on the opening bracket. And then for that position field that would still have a closing bracket in it, just remove the punctuation from that field so that we are, in the end, left with these fields here for the event time / distance. Then we've got the event position for that particular position, for that particular event, sorry, the rolling total and the position after the event. Lovely. So all of our data is all a bit scrambled now, so the only thing left to do, which isn't really necessary if we were just feeding it straight into Tableau Desktop, is just to organize it in an order that we can see the top athlete first, for example. So we're just going to apply a rank function to the position field and then just include in there the event number as well. So I've hidden that field, that's why I can't see it. Let me just unhide it so that I can see that sort field. And sorry, there we go, expand the visual editor. So we're ranking based on the position in ascending order and also the event number in ascending order, just so that we get a nice ordered data set at the end. And then I chose to hide that field because it's not really necessary for our output. It's just to help things look a bit neater as we're kind of checking if everything has gone the way we want it to. So thanks once again to Zach for this challenge, and thank you very much for watching.